Honey, how's Trey feeling today, and what's he going to be able to do for you?
I think a lot like yesterday. We know he's kind of worried. My thinking is, he's here to pinch hit. We're not going to consider him. He won't be you're not going to see him in the outfield or anything like that. So, a guy that we can use off the bench today.
Other questions for Don? Right back there in the left.
Don, what role do you think you'll use Capuano in this series?
It would depend on what kind of game. He could possibly be a guy that if something happened early to one of our starters, could be a guy that we could use there. We could use him situationally. We feel like if we got into a game where we want to get one guy out, get a lefty out. Use him if we got into an extra inning game that was extended, would be another type role for him. But I feel like one of the reasons for keeping Chris was that we felt like there were multiple uses for him, that we could use him situationally during the game, but also have a guy that covered us in different ways also.
To your right, Don, John.
Don, with Andre not able to play the outfield, are there some infielders, whether it's Michael Young or anybody else, that you're kind of looking at as possible emergency type guys involving the outfield if that need should arise?
Well, we've messed around with some guys in center. We've obviously tried Scotty Vince, put him out there in center a little bit. Let him get comfortable. We've let D. Gordon run around out there a little bit in center and do some work with Davey. Scotty's really more of a viable option. D's we look at as more of an emergency. If you had to do it for an inning or two to save you from, depending on how we had to use him and run and things like that. Scotty's more the guy that we would use in the outfield. Punto's done it before. But, hopefully we don't get in that situation.
Kevin, right over here.
Donnie, what's this year been like for you personally with the early on struggles and then bounce back and the run and everything?
Well, all's well that is well, right? So it's been good. We're at this point, so that's the main thing. To me, it's been a great year because you feel like you've been through a lot. You've had a chance to go through and learn and really grow. So it's ended up well. Obviously from start to finish, it's been a little crazy from the expectations and this team and everything else and what we went through early. But then we put it together. So that's kind of the main thing. It's not where you start, it's where you finish, right?
Are you nervous?
Anxious. I think I should be. I think I should be. Again, I think I talked about a little bit yesterday, just trying to cut out all the outside things that, obviously you don't usually do a press conference, every day or have to talk to the media in this format, which is things that are a little different. But once you feel like you get to the game, it's, baseball decisions, the game would tell us what to do, what we need to do.
But you had one playoff series as a player. Is it different in your mind? The nerves and what you want to...
It doesn't feel a whole lot different. I think as a coach, it's just a little different as a coach and as a player. As a player, you feel like you got a chance to go do something. Coach is somewhere in between, and I think managing's a little bit closer to the player because your kind of name's on it. You have to make all the decisions. I'm going to want to have to be answering questions to, why'd you do this or why'd you do that, and this, that, or the other. So as a coach, you're kind of stuck you're in between the manager and the players.
Tyler?
Don, I think maybe because you were such a great player in New York and you've been a coach and manager in both places for so long, there's this idea that the World Series is the one thing that that has eluded you. And I know you're 2 rounds from it, but how much do you think about that? And how great would it be if you were able to make it through and finally get there? How much does that drive you?
Well, obviously it'd be really nice to be able to do that, but it is part of, for me, what you cut out. And it's the stuff around that you want to cut out and just keep it basically making good decisions, getting your guys in the right position. Because as the manager, hopefully you've set a tone for your ball club in some way, but you are at the mercy of your players. we're gonna have to have our guys go out and play. You know, Kirsch to do what he does, and our guys catch the baseball, and we're gonna need some big hits, and hopefully the ball bounces our way a little bit. So you are at the mercy at that point. So again, I think those are all the kind of things, the thoughts that you really don't want. You kind of want to make sure that stays on the outside. Not let that come into the dugout, not let that be a part of decision making. Keep it, for the most part, simple and try to make good decisions.
Bill?
Yeah, Donnie, what's the mood like in the clubhouse? Is it the same as it was the last couple of weeks after since you clinched, or is it different? Or?
It seems the same. I think guys like this time of year because really it's their clubhouse at this point until after the game. So it's kind of the safe haven with all the extra, attention that you get. And we talked about it a little yesterday. You have all kinds of family and all kinds of tickets and all this other stuff, and all good stuff, but extra stuff. And so I think the locker room's still that place that you can kind of hang out, talk ball. You have the music on, and they're watching that game, and they're watching the game in there now. So I think the locker rooms, they seem to be really, seems to be really relaxed right now. So we'll see if hopefully that turns into us being relaxed when we play.
Tyler?
Donnie, when you guys were scuffling this year as a team, and there was, the expectation that you talk about your job, what did you draw on? Did you draw on anything from your own career to help you and the team get through all that?
Well, I think individually, I just drew on the fact that you just keep working and knowing that just you do your job. If your team plays well, you're going to be fine. And so I think in understanding that just the way stories work, it's like a storm for a small period of time, and there's another story coming. It'll be something else that happens that everybody wants to jump on. So I think you just weather that storm as far as just the mass amount of attention on it. Keep going to work, getting your team ready to play. And you always get back to the basics of, get your team ready to play, do your job. And just kind of keep living on that.
3 more.
Donnie, a lot of people feel like this series is